Hi everybody, and thank you for joining me today. So we are going to hit 50% today. Woohoo! As you can see, I'm at 49.99% from looking at my pattern keeper. So yeah, and only need 25 more stitches to reach that landmark, but it might roll over sooner because, like I said, on these pieces that have a really high number of stitches, the margin of error is greater. So sometimes, yeah, it says it before it actually is. It'll say it's 50% before it's, because there's like on this one, about 31 stitches is the 0.01%. So yeah, there's kind of a little bit of wiggle room there. So yeah, it's not perfectly precise, but I mean, good enough, right? I did the math, so I will know when we hit 50%, even if the app thinks that we are gonna get there faster. So yeah, so I did the rest of the big pink flower, and I did, I believe, what is the peacock's foot and leg, and now I'm working on the peahen's feathers. So yeah, again, the shape of them, they kind of form almost like overlapping scales, and so I'm kind of working one scale at a time today. So yeah, so yeah, I mentioned I wasn't so well last time. I am doing better today. Yeah, it was kind of one of those, I'm tired that I don't want to do anything, but not tired enough to actually sleep. So so I'll stitch at least until my brain starts to get tired. So yeah, I think for the moment I'm going to make my cutoff here and just fill in like that, and then I will sort of do the next feather after that. So I think there's a fair amount of confetti here, so we will, yeah, like I said, see what kind of progress I make. But yeah, so that means to get to the middle, to 50% done, took me about 18 months. So I did say, yeah, probably 3 years total for this project. So it looks like we are on track for that. Oh, that doesn't look right. Kind of missed the correct spot there. So I mentioned in my last video how, oh, I don't think I parked that right. Nope, I was parking it based on other threads, and then I realized I was too far from my grid line at the bottom, so something was off, because yeah, I was parking it next to the wrong parked thread there. So yeah, got to be careful about that. Anyway, I mentioned that Heaven and Earth Designs is retiring their solo collection end of the month, and a bunch of Anne Stokes artwork. It'll be replaced by different artwork, but yeah, if you're a fan of hers, I would recommend you go and check on their website. They have a page that says retiring soon, and the names of all the patterns that are of Anne Stokes that's being retired. I think there's about a dozen of them are on that. So yeah, if you had your eye on one of her pieces, now is the time to act before it's gone forever. So I said there weren't any pieces on there that I wanted to do. However, I decided to take one more look just to be certain through the solo collection, and I did find one actually that I wanted to stitch, so I got it. Actually, I can show you guys. I did load it into Pattern Keeper. It is, I'll just put view mock-up, this one called Transitions. Yeah, which is a really big piece. It's almost 400,000 stitches. I did look at the mini version, which is like 60,000, but I compared the mock-ups and it was very pixelated looking, and I just knew you lose 30% detail when you make the mini, and I like that 30% of extra detail. So yeah, some people, they don't mind, but yeah, comparing the two mock-ups, there was just no contest for me. So who knows when I'll get to that one, but yeah, I thought I'm gonna be kicking myself later if I don't buy it now. I'll have lost my chance forever. So yeah, I of course should have thought of that while there was a sale on, because there was like a week ago or something, and yeah, I just didn't think of it. And then yeah, I went to look and went, well, yeah, if I don't get it now, I'm gonna be probably regretting it later. So okay, so yeah, right around here I think is actually where I'll make my cutoff, and I'm going to kind of curve it around here, and then I think, yeah, there's another sort of swath of colors that starts going this way, so I will probably start working from the bottom up again at that point, but I will decide when I get there, as usual. I don't plan that far ahead. Okay, I'm gonna check this one here. Okay. So I'm doing this one. Okay, and then actually same color, different thread. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I was saying that it's fall, but we had some nice warm days. But yeah, my neighbors across the street, their tree was just starting to turn the leaves like less than a week ago, and now they're all completely yellow and orange, which is just wild to me. Like I said, I grew up in BC, mostly on Vancouver Island, and the switch into cooler weather was much more gradual. Yeah, I had to get used to that here in Alberta. The seasons change quite rapidly. Maybe not so much when it's warming up for spring, but when it's cooling down for fall, yeah. Tends to go quite quickly. Okay, yeah, like I said, the bottom of the pass is here. So yeah, we're just getting the top of the peahen's wing feathers here. Just making sure that was correct. Felt like it might not be, but it was. So yeah, just going to be working back and forth along this curve for a while. Okay. So yeah, I'm a little less talkative today, that's why I'm tired. Still recovering from an illness. Yeah, I haven't seen the bunny that visits our yard. He hasn't started to turn white yet. Yeah, that usually happens more November. Again, that did not quite go correctly. There's a little fluff here from one of the ends sticking up there. That's better. Yeah, so again, these feathers have more pinks and oranges in them than I would have expected from looking at the mock-up. They look more brown, but yeah. So see what it looks like when it is stitched. Oh, you know, I said I was going to notice when it rolled over, and then I didn't. It's, yeah, 50%, and 450 was it, so we're 7 stitches past that now. Well, actually 8. I just haven't marked it down. Yeah, I got into the zone of stitching and forgot to watch. I bet some of you noticed, though, right? Yeah, there we are. Half done. Woohoo! Yeah, and like I said, the actual center stitch is way over on his wings. But because I stitched below the halfway mark, yeah, that's why we reached 50% before we reached that, the actual center stitch, which is what I knew would happen. Yeah, I thought at first when I was doing this parts of the wing that it was part of the flower petal with these pinks and stuff, but then I realized, no, it actually is part of the wings. The second bird. It's funny, I always want to say penguin. For some reason, it's like, no, it's peacock. Penguin looks very different. Yeah, I don't know why sometimes my brain seems to get stuck there. I have to remember and correct myself. Do some juggling here. So yeah, I filled in part of this one feather, was kind of working my way up. Now we're kind of working our way down. And all over the place. I find it can get harder to manage the threads here at the bottom of the pass where I've got the fabric kind of rolled up in my way, but we'll do our best. If I have to reset and take all my needles off, then I will. Okay, another color. Let's see if yeah, I do have this one out. So now we're past 50%, 50.01. So woohoo. So I don't know if 51% is doable or not. Yeah, so I'm not going to make it a goal. If I get there, then bonus, but okay. Can I pull this one out or not? Yep, gotcha. These three as well. Yeah, so we watched the second Inside Out movie because now we have Disney Plus. So yeah, it was good. Enjoyed it. Sometimes sequels can't live up to the original, but yeah, it was good. Yeah, I already knew about the new characters before I watched because I have Inside Out app that's a game. That's a bubble popping game. And so yeah, they have all the different characters are different colored orbs, of course, like the memories, and then they have different powers when you power them up. So Joy does a burst of sunshine, and Sadness does a line of clouds, and like, yeah, different power-ups to clear different, I guess they're the memories or whatever, although they call it like a marble popper game, yeah. So I saw the new ones show up with their own different different powers before I actually saw the movie. Yeah, rarely go to the theater anymore because, you know, usually we only go, there's one of my husband's coworkers, he likes to go to the movies, so oftentimes we'll go with him since he's already going. So we went to see the Super Mario Brothers movie in theaters, which was lots of fun. Yeah. And we watched Twisters. I'm trying to think if there was another one or not. Well, my husband went to go see the second Dune movie with him, but it was a really late premiere, and I just went, yeah, I don't feel like being up that late. Oh, I'm getting older, and I need my sleep. Yeah. Well, plus my big thing is, too, I can't drink anything because otherwise I won't make it through a whole movie without having to use the bathroom. And, of course, you know, when you pay to see it in theater, you don't want to miss any of it, right? So, yeah. So that's one thing I like about when you stream the movie, you rent it at home, you can pause it and use the bathroom whenever you need to. Yeah, the only thing is that you can only watch it once, because I remember when we were kids, if it wasn't a new release, you got to keep the movie for the whole week, which meant you could watch it multiple times if you wanted, and we often did do that. Yeah, physical movie rental places, you don't see those much anymore. Yeah. We did not have a Blockbuster here. In this town where we live, there was a little independently owned place, and then yeah, the owners retired, and nobody took over that because yeah, I mean, movie rentals are kind of going the way of the dodo. So yeah, that was the end of that, the end of an era. Yeah, I find things get released to for home viewing much quicker than they did when I was a kid. Yeah. And when I was a kid, it was like 8 months or more after they stopped showing something in the theaters before you got the video release. But yeah, now it's like, wait, I just saw that in the theater. It's out already? Yeah. I don't know, maybe because if you don't release an official one, people might, you know, make knockoffs. So they don't want that, right? Okay. Just going to continue working along here, and then I'm going to start filling in below it, I think. Yeah. Okay. 434. How far does that extend? Okay, not very. So now I know what size piece of thread I want to use. Yeah, stitch for long enough, and I get pretty good at guesstimating how many stitches I will get out of a leftover piece of thread. So yeah, to reach another whole percent done is 3,000 stitches. So yeah, whether we'll get that in the time left in this month or not, we will see. Yeah, because like I said, once again, I missed a few days of stitching because I wasn't feeling well enough. Okay, so again, this kind of branches off, so what am I gonna do? Just planning ahead. Okay, I think I know what I'll do. So I could do one of two things. I could carry on this thread over this way, or I could carry it down this way. And yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to carry it down partially and back up. We'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, but first, a color swap. Yeah, so I have one part down here that I'm going to carry sideways, and I'm going to have one here that I'm going to do with a new thread. Just going to check the length of that one that is down here. Yeah, that's a decent length. Okay. See if this thread is long enough or not. Oops. help if I actually put both strands through the eye of the needle instead of just one. Gonna be close. That's okay. I have another short piece to use up if this wasn't quite enough. No prob. Oh, this is going to be, yeah, I think just enough. Haha. Yeah, I guessed that perfectly. And it didn't tangle up on me either. There's always that worry when I'm really close to the end. Oh, we got her. Okay. Yeah. Okay, because I have another thread part down here, but that's a short one. Okay. Only enough for one stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these and cross them coming back up, and then continue carrying this thread over to the right. So yeah, that new pattern I bought, like I said, is a lot because it's 625 by 625. So yeah, it is over 390,000. Just what I need another big project, right? Yeah, I did that one Majora's Mask, but all the rest of my planned stuff is all huge pieces. Those in and those. Tie that off. There is another stitch over here by itself, but this thread is just not going to be quite long enough to reach it and be able to stitch that last stitch. So time to secure it. So yeah, like I said, this is sort of where I'm going to make a break for now and keep filling in here and then probably come from the top again. We will see. Like I say, I might work from the bottom, I might work from the top. Just kind of depends. I've done it both ways and they both work. yeah, it's interesting because one of my friends who is also a stitcher, they don't stitch the same technique on all of their pieces. So they're doing one that's parking and they're kind of like building squares like this, sort of almost like a spiral out. And then they are also stitching one extreme cross country, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I say I don't have the brain or the patience to to do that. I'd be too worried that I would miscount, because I would. But I love seeing other people's projects stitched that way. It looks really cool. So there we go. All right, I'm going to do this one in the corner first, so that I can do the one to the right of it after. Yeah, so again, some red. Not what I would have expected from looking at the picture, but yeah, they haven't steered me wrong yet, so I trust the pattern. Make sure I'm in the correct place first. Yeah, I almost did that. One big square from where it should be. That would have been annoying. There, so I did all those because, yeah, I'm going to do this one. Yeah, I wanted to be able to go down here without blocking in the one next to it. Okay, I think this needle might be tarnished. It might be time for it to go in my sharps container. There's a little bit of an end here. I tried to force it to go with the thread, but it wouldn't, so yeah. This one's too fat. Yeah, I have two sizes of these snag tools, and there. Sometimes need a different size. Okay. That's no good. Look at that. I did it horizontally instead of diagonally. That's no good. I don't know. One time I managed to stitch a plus sign on my fabric instead of an X, and I have no idea how. I didn't notice. And of course it was after I had tied off the thread too. Yeah, I messed it up big time. I'm going to set this needle aside for now, because I think that one is just tarnished and getting squeaky. All right, so these. So yeah, you can kind of see another feather shape is going to form here. And so what I might do is, see, are any of these threaded? There's one. Okay. But yeah, what I might do actually is just set this aside for now. I won't do that whole bit. I'm going to start filling in here down at the bottom of this pass here. So I'm going to fill into there and then start filling in another feather. But I probably won't get to that today. So, okay. Just working from the side out this time. Goodness. Having a rough time finding the proper place. Just making sure that wasn't twisted before I keep stitching along with it. Yeah, these feathers have quite a bit of detail here, so that means quite a lot of color changes. So it does slow things down a wee bit. Oh yeah, this one. Not going to be able to carry it. I'll have to add another one. That is okay. don't think I have this color out. Nope. Let's see how much gets used. Oh yeah, fair bit around here, so I still have spots in my working tray, so I will take this one out. Yeah, my working tray is technically a beads container because it has more slots. It has like twice as many as the normal cross stitch bobbin holder. Yeah. That one only has like 18 and this has like 30 something, so yeah. Yeah, so I went and got beads container and then I just cut the top off. And when I need to close it, I just put rubber bands. I put the lid back on and put rubber bands around it, so yeah. Yeah, I have a couple of them for different projects. Goodness, getting all tangled up here. So I'm not keeping as many live needles at the moment so that they don't tangle. Or when it's too short, I don't leave it threaded. Just try not to gather everything into that stitch. That would be not so good. So back over to the left again. Yeah, there were a lot of colors in this one square. Yeah, so I was talking about my husband's work. They're doing a trunk and treat, and they're having an alien Men in Black theme. So Yeah, my husband ordered this big inflatable UFO ship for part of their decor, so yeah. Yeah, he said I have it inflated and leave it that way to get the wrinkles out in time. Yeah, because they won't be doing it on an actual Halloween. They'll be doing it like a week earlier, 20 something. Yeah. That won't work. Only grabbed one strand. Yeah, in fact, like I said, on the mock-up, this looked all browns. But when you actually stitch it, it's got more colors to it than that. Yeah, none of our neighbors seem to be doing Halloween displays this year. We had the people across the street. Sometimes they go all out for it. They did one time. I woke up in the morning and I looked and there was a whole bunch of crime scene tape around their tree. And I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? Before realizing, oh no, it was part of their Halloween decor. So maybe I watched too many crime procedurals. Because yeah, I do watch a lot of them. But yeah, I've heard of news stories where people's Halloween decorations were so realistic that they actually had to take them down because people were making 911 calls. Thinking somebody had actually fallen off a ladder or something like that. There was a Christmas decoration one too I saw that was made to look like the guy's hanging off the gutter after the ladder fell away. And yeah, he had to take it down because emergency services kept getting called by concerned people thinking it was an actual person in danger. Yeah, so I have an old mason jar that I use for my trimmed ends, and it's about half full, and I'm about half done the pattern, so maybe it'll all fit. But I actually made a Christmas ornament with a bunch of the threads last year, so yeah, we'll see if I can squish them all in there or if I will have to move them to a bigger jar eventually. I know I could just throw them out, but actually I find them kind of cool. Yeah. You can kind of see almost like a layer cake sometimes, like a set of, you know, rock layer formation or something. It almost looks like with the different, you know, here's the one that's mostly blue, and that was the peacock, you know, and here's got a bunch of greens, that was from his tail. Oh, here's the pinks, which was from the flower. Yeah, it's kind of cool to see the layers build that way. I saw one, somebody kept theirs and they were stitching the extreme cross country and they actually went like in a rainbow order. So yeah, their thread jars looked really cool. Guess it's almost kind of like collecting sea glass and keeping it in a jar or something, right? Well, I have so many canning jars, so it's not like I'm gonna run out. Yeah. I'm using one for my ends that I can't use it for canning anymore anyway because it's got a tiny little chip in the rim. So it's still useful for holding stuff, but yeah, you can't form a proper safe seal if there's a nick or chip in the rim. That will prevent it. It has to be perfect. Needle's running away from me there. Okay, just again checking with my grid lines to make sure I'm actually stitching that in the right place. Yeah, I think it was that needle I set aside because the others aren't squeaking, so. Yeah, I keep an old medicine bottle and I put the needles in there when they're no longer good for stitching with anymore. Then that way I don't have loose needles in the garbage because I don't want it poking anybody, right? So. Yeah, speaking of medication, I cleaned out my medicine cabinet during the renovations and finally got all of the old expired medication, took it to the pharmacy so they'll dispose of it. Because yeah, I didn't know, but someone told me you should be careful how you dispose of medication because they don't want it getting into potentially into waterways and stuff, contaminating things. So yeah, if you take it in, most pharmacies will take it from you for proper disposal. Because yeah, I said I had some prescription stuff in there that was older than my kid who's going to be a legal adult in a few months. So yeah. Well, it's just one of those things. If it's not an antibiotic that needs to be finished, right, you just stop taking it when you don't need it anymore and just never think of it again. So yeah. Okay, time to add a couple new colors. Let's see how much of this color is around. Somewhat. I do still have a slot open, so I may put this one out too. I will probably go through, I have some from the flower that I actually need to pack away, so I'll probably do that later. Oh, silly me. I should have taken out a whole new strand too. Not just my thread card with the leftover pieces. don't have out. Yeah, don't use this one as much, so I won't bother having it out yet. I guess I should have known there'd be more oranges and reds and stuff in here because her feather coloring is similar to the feathers on the peacock's wing. So, and yeah, when I stitched that, I was surprised at how orange and stuff it was, but it looks good. I'm happy with it, so. Yeah, I guess when I printed out my mock-up, my color printer doesn't have as many as many color combinations as DMC or something. Yeah, it's not the highest quality one or anything, so it's just good enough. Oh, holy cow, that is super short. Right, that was this one. Because yeah, I'll attach another thread and carry it across the very bottom there. That is why it chose such a short piece for this area. So yeah, here's where I deviate from my old diagonal method where I always tried to do the stitches that were above and to the left before doing stitches below and to the right. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on this feather shape here, and then I'm going to fill in that feather shape there and then another one there. Yeah. Rather than setting all these aside and starting at the top again, I think that's what I'm going to do. Just kind of work my way across. Okay. think sort of right there is where I'm going to start it. Yeah, and all these that are above here, they're just aside for now. I will come back and fill them in later. Oh, our progress is at a palindrome now. It's 5005. So I could do that, or I could start doing the feather above it, but I'm thinking, yeah, if I do this feather, then I'm gonna have to do that one. Yeah, so I'm just gonna build from the bottom up again. So sort of from the top down from this point, and then top down again from the next point is probably what I'm gonna do as I do these feathers. Yeah, so again, gotta make my cutoff somewhere, so it's gonna be around this feather. Okay. Yeah, shall we stitch to 200? Why not? Pretty close. So yeah, I think I'm gonna unthread that one. I'll do that when I'm doing, because there's a lot of stitches in that feather there. So that is what I'm going to do. type that one out or not? No, I didn't. Okay. Yeah, so that's what I will do after I wrap up for today. I'll go through what I have out in my working tray and pack away all those pinks I won't be using for a while. Yeah, kind of do that when I change motifs. It's time to pack away the colors I'm no longer using. Okay, so I think we'll do this big long one here, and that should take us over 200. And that will be where I call it a day, I think. So yeah, you got to see me get to 50% on camera, although I missed the exact moment. I was too distracted by the stitching. Yeah, and I think my next session, if I'm remembering correctly, will be my 300th Stitch With Me session. So, holy cow. Yes, it's just something that I started on a whim. And I've been enjoying myself, so I keep doing it. So yeah, 201. So yeah, good progress today. So thank you so much for joining me, and hope to see you here next time. Thanks everyone. Bye.